Today we are going to learn about the least common multiple. And the least common multiple, this is the abbreviation for least common multiple. Is the multiple, the smallest multiple that two or three numbers have in common. So for example, we've got the number 3 and 6, and if we want to find the least common multiple of these two, we're going to first list the multiples of each number. Multiples of 3 are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and 18. The multiples of 6 are 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, and 36. And then we look at them, we find the smallest number or the least number that they have in common. If we look at that, we can see that they both have a 6 in common, and that's the smallest number that they have in common. So the least common multiple of 3 and 6 is 6. Now, this is one method to do it. I have another method that's kind of the shortcut, and if this method works for you, you can use, you can use either method that works best for you. But let's take, for example, we want to find the least common multiple of 6 and 9. First, I look at the largest of the two multiples, which is 9, and I list it over here to the side. And then I ask myself, is 9 a multiple of 6? And the answer is no. So I write the next multiple of 9, which is 18, and I ask myself, is 18 a multiple of 6? And the answer is yes. So 18 is the least common multiple of both 6 and 9. Let's take a look at that with three different numbers. Let's do 3, 4, and 6. 6 is the largest of the three numbers, so we're going to list 6 over here to the side. Is 6 a multiple of 3? The answer is yes. Is 6 a multiple of 4? The answer is no. So once I come to a no, then I need to stop and write the next multiple of 6, which is 12. Is 12 a multiple of 3? Yes. Is 12 a multiple of 4? Yes. And of course it is a multiple of 6. So 12 is the least common multiple of the three of them. Okay, now we're going to take a look at why we learn about the least common multiple. So we're going to take the least common multiple, and it actually means the same as the least common denominator. Least common denominator. They are the same, they have the same meaning. The only difference is that we're looking at the denominator of a fraction. Remember, in a fraction, the lower number is the denominator. And we want to have the same denominator when we're adding or subtracting fractions. We need to have the same denominator. So if we don't have the same denominator, we're going to use the least common denominator to make equivalent fractions with the same denominator. So let me give you an example of that. Let's say we have 2/3 and 3/4. And we want to make equivalent fractions. We're going to set this up for equivalent fractions. And we want to have the same denominator here and the same denominator here. So we're going to look at find the least common multiple of those two numbers. 4 is the greatest, so we're listed over here to the side. Is 4 a multiple of 3? The answer is no. So we write the next multiple of 4, which is 8. Is 8 a multiple of 3? The answer is no, so we write the next multiple of 4. Is 12 a multiple of 3? The answer is yes. So 12 is the least common multiple of 3 and 4. We're going to use the least common multiple as our least common denominator. And then we're going to set up equivalent fractions. Now remember, in equivalent fractions, this fraction right here has to be equivalent to 1 so that we don't change the amount or the value of the number. So we're going to do 3 times what equals 12. That's 4. So we're going to put 4 here. That means we need a 4 here. And then 2 times 4 is 8. And down here we need 4 times what is 12. And that is 3. So we need a 3 right here. And 3 times 3 is 9. Now we have two equivalent fractions, or two sets of equivalent fractions with the same denominator. For example, here we are not able to add these the way that they are because we don't have the same size parts. But in this one right here, we can add these, and that would be 17/12. And that is the reason why we learn about the least common denominator and the least common multiple. Okay, so here is your assignment. Let me clear this off. And your assignment is to find the least common multiple of these numbers. You may write these on a piece of paper and then turn it in on Monday. So you're going to do the least common multiple of 4 and 8, do the least common multiple of 2, 3, and 5, do the least common multiple of 3, 4, and 8, and do the least common multiple of 3 and 5. Okay, you can pause right now to do these because you have one more assignment after this one. Okay, your next assignment is to create equivalent fractions that have the same denominator, the least common denominator. So if you've got the fractions 2/3 and 1/4, you're going to make equivalent fractions with the least common denominator here of the two fractions. And you're going to do the same here. Let's do 3/5 and 3/4. And make equivalent fractions with the same denominator right here, with the least common denominator. And do these on a piece of paper